in the midst of slicing some avocados, which is my favorite fruit. Avocado is actually a fruit, not a vegetable, but we kind of eat it as a vegetable. Anyway, hi, I'm Mark Alyn. This is Mark Alyn Cooks Your Dinner. We have a great show today. Barbara Weller is going to be joining us from Weller Productions. We're going to be talking about a brand new book uh, that is dynamite. You can see it in the background. So if you're getting old and you want to anti-age, and I know that I have already regressed to childhood just reading this book. It could happen to you too. I'm Mark Alyn. This is Mark Alyn Cooks. We're live. We're on the air. And welcome to our show. Hi, I'm Mark Alyn, and hope you are happy today. Today is the first day of summer. Yay! It's the longest day of the year, and it's finally, we had no clouds today here in Southern California, and I'm very, very happy. Last weekend, we're going to start this show before we bring Barbara Weller on. Last week, Carol and I were in San Francisco, and I got hungry. We were on Gary Street, and we're trying to figure out what to nibble on before dinner. And Carol pointed to a restaurant. She said, "Oh, that's just opening. Look." And it said a soft opening. They're testing, they're trying. And I said, "You know what? Let's go look." So we did. Let me show you what we came up with. The name of the restaurant is Bento Peak. And the young woman on the left side of the screen is Ling Ling. And Ling Ling was very gracious. She let us in 15 minutes early. And Ming is the chef. Look at that attitude he's got. And they make bento boxes. And we just had a couple of little things because we had dinner coming up. It was terrific. It was absolutely fabulous. And I wanted you to know that. Okay, we can get rid of that. Let us bring in our wonderful guest, Barbara Weller. Hello, Barbara from Olympia, Washington.
Hi, Mark. How
How
are
are you?
you?
I'm fine. How
I'm
are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
You have helped put together a book, and several books I know, for Grace O, I believe, right?
Yes.
And we have her book coming up right now. This is a book that is healthy and it has recipes from around the world. We're going to do, I would say this is a Mexican recipe, and they're anti-aging dishes. Um, and I can't wait because, as I've already said, I'm always hungry, always hungry. If you have comments and if you're hungry, let us know. We haven't, we're open right now, and you can make comments and ask questions of Barbara, say hi, let us know where you're from. All right. Um, Tell us a little bit about Grace O first, and then we'll start cooking.
Well, I've been working with Grace for over a decade now, and this is her third cookbook. I think it's actually, it's the culmination of a lot of years of work and research. But Grace grew up in the Philippines where her mother ran a culinary school. So she grew up in that kitchen and loved learning about cooking and food. And her father was a doctor. So she's always had this food and medicine background. But her mom died when she was pretty young. Her mother was 19. I mean,
Oof.
she was 19 when her mother died. And so she took over the cooking school. She started some restaurants in the Philippines and really kind of introduced some food trends there and always loved cooking. When she came to the US, she ended up working in a skilled nursing facility in the office. And then over, gosh, within a year or two, she was the manager and then she became a partner and now she owns herself 5 or 6 skilled nursing facilities in California. So she's very busy, busy
Yeah, I'll
woman. But
bet.
but she really, doing the food and the recipes has always been kind of her stress relief, which I think she needs in the world that she lives in and works in. And she has traveled all over the world and she's so curious about foods and what they do. And that's kind of what we've done over these 10 years is to, to look at and find really interesting food. She's taught me so much. I did not know what rambutan, which is this fabulous, almost lychee like fruit. It's so
Mm.
good. And jackfruit and cherimoya. There's so many interesting foods
Jackfruit,
out there.
jackfruit scare me. They're so big. I'm afraid
They're
they're
big.
gonna.
They look like dinosaur eggs. They're
They
so big.
do. I'm afraid
Weird.
something's gonna pop out and eat me up. Uh, and we have to talk about just before we start cooking. I've been doing a lot of work over the last probably 8 or 9 years with a company called Krilla Health on prostate health,
Oh,
also
interesting.
um, on uterine health for women. And I know that Grace just gave a generous donation uh, for some pre-studies, if you will,
Yeah, there are
clinical
these
trials.
preliminary research studies, and this is something that we've been hoping to do for years because FoodTrients is part of, it's a nonprofit. All the proceeds from the books go to the Grace O Foundation, which is now funding research specifically for learning more about food and lifestyle as it relates to the diseases of aging. So we haven't announced yet, but the press release will probably be coming out soon. But she donated $300,000
Wow.
to Cedar Sinai Hospital in LA to do research on pretty much inflammatory diseases. Prostate cancer is one of them. It's going to be one of the first projects because Black men seem to be far more prone to prostate cancer than other men, and so they want to figure out why. So, can food and lifestyle changes help that statistic for the better? And the other project is one I'm excited about too, which is the breast cancer treatments. And there are lots of side effects with the treatments and the medications that women have to take. So they want to see what kinds of foods and lifestyle changes might help mitigate or eliminate those symptoms or
Got it.
those problems.
Grace, thank you for giving back. I mean, I think that's terrific.
Yeah. Oh,
All right,
it's
let's go
it's
back over here to our cooking area. I'm going to turn on our stove quickly.
well, and this is the I just to tell you, this is the Veracruz Street Corn Bowl that
Yes.
you're going to make, which I'm excited about. It's a great summer dish. I made it Saturday because it had been a while, and I wanted to remind myself, oh, it was so good. And when the summer corn gets really good, this is a great dish for you.
Well, I agree, and I had trouble as I think I said prior to us getting on the air. I couldn't find corn anywhere. I and I almost went out to Somas, California, where they grow all kinds of corn, but I just didn't have the time. I just thought corn would be available.
Yeah,
It was not. I'm
it may
heating
be
up
a
some.
little early, although I was able to find some organic corn, which, there's some things that if you can buy in organic, they're better. Corn happens to be one of them. Um, but and it was great. I grilled it and
Wait,
then
you're
shucked
not
it.
supposed to grill. I thought guys were only allowed to grill.
Well, I think okay,
Just
I lied.
teasing.
My husband Rob helped me. He grilled. I did everything else.
Oh, okay. Sue McKenney says hello. Thank you very much. Food is medicinal, she says. And Neil Grace, who was a guest a couple weeks ago, uh, don't say this out loud. Take charge. I am. Thank you. Okay. Um, Neil Grace is up in the San Francisco Bay Area. All right, I'm heating up oil. Now, when you cook, Barbara, I know that there are recipes and it says, 2 cups of this and 1 cup of that and a half a teaspoon of this. I don't cook that way. I look at it and I guesstimate. Do you do the same?
When you're baking, you really can't do that. But yes, otherwise I do. And one of the things that it, Rob and I, my husband, we can't eat real spicy food. So I adapt some ingredients too. And I did in this recipe. I used a red pepper instead of the jalapeno. Um,
Okay,
but
you guys are wusses.
I know we are. But that's what I love about this recipe too, because if you really like it spicy, you can heat it up, and you can add spicy salsa instead of a mild one.
James Paris says hello. Jim, how are you? And let us know where you're from, Jim. We'd appreciate that. Okay. All right, I think that's heating up nicely. I'm going to heat it up just a little bit more. Now, the recipe calls for a jalapeno. I did dice it and seeded it mostly. I took most of the seeds out. When you do that, do two things. Never touch your face, especially your eyes. And I always wear a plastic bag over my hand. Okay.
Well, that's smart.
And then I throw the bag away. I know it's a waste. But it's better than not seeing. All right. I think we can put this in. Now I'm going to use a whole jalapeno pepper. And that should be hotter. Stir that around. The other thing that I love is garlic.
Me too.
You do. So
I do.
the recipe called for a small amount of garlic. I tripled it.
I
I'm
I
looking
think
at
when you
Carol
have
right
black
now.
beans,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
great
you
to
like garlic. I'm
yeah.
sorry, Barbara.
Garlic is so good for you anyway, but I think particularly when you have black beans, they can use a lot of you can spice up this dish pretty well.
Absolutely. Okay. We should mention that your husband, uh, Rob Weller, was well known, is well known as a host, TV host, and uh, yes, Jim,
And
it
he
is
produced.
so funny. He's in Chatsworth. We worked in Simi Valley for some city marketing, and you love cooking. Jim, I want you to come on the show. Okay, will you cook with us? Maybe we can do a Simi Valley burger. We'll talk about that. It's been a long time, Jim. It's been like 30 years we did those shows. All right, I'm going to add garlic now. Now, um, we have a chef that's a consultant, our son. I like to put garlic through a garlic press because I just think it right. A lot of chefs chop it. Which do you do?
I
Or
I
in thin
chop it.
slices? You chop it.
Yeah.
You chop it. Okay.
But I like garlic presses too. That makes it easier sometimes. And it gets
Yes.
it juicier.
Yeah, exactly. And if you take a look at this, oh my, does
That
that
looks
smell
good.
good? I should say Neil and others, this is a completely vegan dish. There is no animal products in it at all, and it's all organic, from the jicama um, to the avocados that we're cutting up, and we'll use in a little bit.
Right. And those when you add the black beans, you're adding great protein and they have lysine, which is good for repairing your tissue. And there's so many good things that black beans or that beans can do for you. And this is a great dish if you want to do a meatless Monday, or you could add meat if you want to. But it's really delicious and it's filling.
Oh, I can't wait. And lysine, I think, is good for the eyes.
Yes, and well, lutein is too, which is in the corn.
Got
Uh,
it.
corn is
And
good for your eyes.
folks, buy organic corn. It's non-GMO.
Yeah.
I know that sounds. I keep harping on this. I've actually gone to Washington. I've talked to. Um, Thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. Yeah, we enjoy cooking vegan, and we try to mix it up so that we have something for everybody here on our show. Um, the garlic is starting to brown. Now, in cooking the jalapeno in the olive oil, by the way, it will soften the power of that olive oil too. Um, but I've gone to Congress twice and talked about genetically modifying foods. It's gotta be labeled, folks. It really does. All right,
I
let's see.
agree.
Um, so I'm gonna add the corn next. You boss me around. This is
Yes. Okay. So now you're going to add the corn.
all right. So I got up this morning and grilled some corn, and I'll show you what I've done in a minute. Let me dump this in. Oh,
Oh, that looks beautiful. You charred it a little bit too.
thank you. Is that overcharred at all? Do you
I
think?
don't think so. No, it's looking good. So you're just going to get that heated up.
You know, I
And then,
forgot to ask you this earlier, and that is, oh, let me show you this. I grilled this corn. It took about 10 minutes. Um, if you're in Appalachia, you turn this into a corn cob pipe. I don't know exactly what you're putting in that pipe these days, but and it's delicious. And I remember as a kid chewing on the um, the cob after we ate it. It was so sweet.
it's
Okay,
really good. And it's, you just let it cool down and then you take the corn off the cob and it's so fresh and good.
absolutely. Oh, is that delicious? Mm.
And I think I mentioned that when I made it Saturday night, I only made it for my husband and I, so I had plenty of leftovers. So today I took the corn and the black beans and the lettuce and some avocado and I put a little cheese on it too, so it's not vegan, but
You could have used vegan
and I
cheese.
made tortillas with it,
Ah,
and it was
excellent idea.
delicious. It was really
Excellent.
good.
So we made some organic rice that we're going to build this on,
Perfect.
and I had like 6 bags of rice in my pantry, different kinds, but none brown. So we just made it with white.
That's fine.
Oh, I might need more oil, do you think? Okay. Do you think I should add a little touch of oil, Barbara?
How's it? Well, it looks pretty good, but if it looks like it needs a little moisture, yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
And once you get it pretty well heated,
All right,
you're
we're going to
good.
add some spices in here now.
Oh, that's right. You have to put the
So,
cumin and the
and
chili
how much
pepper.
cumin?
Let me see. Hang on a second.
Sure.
A quarter teaspoon,
A quarter. All right.
and then
Cumin is one of my go-to spices.
you
Um,
need a half a teaspoon of coriander.
and we'll add some coriander. Coriander is also known as, and I'm going to do it this way. Coriander is also known as cilantro. And
It's
then I think we have
really,
chili
really
powder,
good
right?
for you. It's one of those great spices, and it's a great flavor too.
So
And
we've
you got
had,
the half a teaspoon of chili powder too, right?
how much chili powder?
A half a teaspoon. But you can always bump it up if you like to
Yeah.
spice it up more.
This was a brand new jar. We had
Ooh.
we had it. We had bought some chili powder that didn't taste like chili powder, so I threw it out.
Huh. Yeah, not all spices are as good as they should be.
We're almost ready, huh?
Yes. And it now becomes almost an assembly project.
All right, let's. We're going to cut some avocado up here,
Okay.
and I think we'll. I'm going to show everybody how to seed an avocado right now. Now,
Okay.
remember, I am not a professional chef. I talk for a living. So, if you smack it with a knife, twist it, it's out, and then pull it off. You can now plant this too. Carol has planted one a couple of years ago, and it's 5.5 feet tall now outside.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, I like to do that. I like to do it that way as well.
and we'll just cut up. And there's so many different varieties of avocados. These are Haas. It's organic.
They look good.
They do, and it's terrific. Um, mm,
And I don't know if you follow the environmental working group, but they put out a list every year of, I think it's the Clean 15, which are fruits and vegetables that you can buy that are non-organic, that are safe. And avocados happens to be one of them because they have a nice
wow.
thick skin.
Well, I'm going to turn
So
this
sometimes
down
when
to
I look at
low.
the prices of organic avocados versus non-organic, it's like, okay. Um, so it is something that, and bananas, because they've got a nice covering that you don't eat. But when it comes to berries and apples and things that you're going to
Oh
eat the
yeah,
skin, you really want organic.
absolutely. So I have a couple of things here. All right. So I'm going to move this around. And Ray, you can show we have an empty white bowl, and it's bright. I'm going to come over here to our rice, and then
Yes.
Barbara, help me assemble this if you would.
Okay, yes, you definitely start with the rice. So and this is making 4 servings, so you would kind of divide that up into 4 portions. Um, and then on top of the rice, you're going to put the corn first.
Do the which? I'm sorry.
The corn goes first, your corn
Ah,
mixture, the corn and peppers.
now I'm making a small one because I'm just going to be tasting it here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the salsa.
Now I have to tell you about the salsas. Salsa is one of the easiest things in the world to make. However, I got lazy. So instead of making my own, I went to the local Mexican market. I asked for salsa. Carol said this is actually red sauce or roja. But I think it'll work. Ray, you can get a picture.
I'm sure it's
Whoa,
good.
there. How's that? It's leaking right out of the container. There, there. And this is a medium. And Carol, it is chunky.
And you can always add more if you're eating it and you feel like, oh, I like a little more salsa. You can I just put a little bowl on the table and we add it a little bit more later.
Got it. What
And then
is
it comes
next?
to beans. The beans are next, the black
Okay.
beans, and those
So,
are just drained and rinsed.
and that's what I did. These are
It's a
black
can of
beans,
beans. You don't even have to heat them.
right?
And then the jicama is next.
And you like jicama. Ray likes
I,
jicama.
I love it.
Carol likes jicama. I'm ambivalent. I don't know why.
Well, and sometimes they're very sweet. You can find some that are sweeter than others, but I love the crunch that it gives to this dish. It's
Mm.
just a nice touch. And the last thing you put on are the avocados.
All right. Put one more on. All righty. This is my
All right, now
favorite
you get to
part
taste it.
of the show. That's a little bright. I'm gonna, if I lift that up, Ray, do you think that'll be better? Ah, yes. Oops. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that. Oh, it is. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna just bite into this. I'm sorry? No, I don't have to worry about my hot dance unless the salsa is really hot, and it's not.
Yes, you can definitely spice it up if you like a really hot
Mm.
or a hot salsa. You could add that instead.
This is
Is it
this is
good?
nice. Yeah.
Oh, good.
All right. This time, in addition to everything else, I've got jicama and avocado on here, and some black beans. Mm. Oh, you know what we forgot to do?
What?
The lime.
Oh, that's right. You're supposed to just put a little quarter lime and squeeze a little lime juice on it. I'm sorry.
I I forgot to buy them, and Ray graciously got me some on
I
his
was
way
having so
over.
much fun watching you do it. I forgot to tell you that.
I'm gonna. You know, there's certain things that just smell so good.
I know I love limes, and it just really gives it another nice mix of
Oh,
flavors.
really nice. It blends. Mm. Excuse me, I missed
Well,
lunch.
you did all the work. You get to enjoy it.
Neil wrote, "Eating vibrant food energizes the body." I am so energized, Neil. Listen, Barbara, I thank you very much for your time. Will you come back? Will you bring in another recipe to us?
I would love to, and I hope people will go to foodtrients.com because we have tons of recipes and we have lots of good
That's a lower
information
third.
about.
I'm sorry, hold on. I think I put a lower third in there.
Oh, did you? Yeah, foodtrients.com. And sometimes we give
Right
away
above that.
really fun things.
Right above Barbara. It's
Thank
tiny.
you. Thank you.
There you go. How's that?
I love it. Oh, that's
All right.
great. And if you sign up for the newsletter, we love it. We send it out. We don't bombard you with too many of them, but um, we do have a lot of great contributors to the site. We have a nutritionist, we have doctors who we work with, and lots of good information on how food can help prevent or maybe help mitigate some of the diseases that we are dealing with these days.
Well, Barbara, again, I thank you. I'm going to send you a copy. I think I promised you a copy of my book, Growing Old Sucks, but it doesn't
I
have
love
to.
it.
Growing Old Sucks, but it doesn't have to. And it doesn't have to if you go to this to foodtrients.com, because at foodtrients.com there's lots of information about anti-aging. And by the way, I just have to say, I don't anti-age. I grow old gracefully.
That's good.
Okay. Anyway,
That's perfect.
that was my Jack Benny. I'm going to ask you to hold on, Barbara, just for a second. Um, and we'll be right back to you in just one second. Come to me. Um, Next week, we are going to we're going to talk about blood pressure, and there's a new company out, and it's called 120 Life, and they are going to show us how to make their product. You can make their product at home. You don't have to buy their product. And then they're also, with their nutritionist, we're going to make some kind of blood pressure lowering dish, which is terrific. But the fact that they're giving us the recipe and telling us how to do it is amazing. You just have to find hibiscus something. Anyway, I'm Mark Alyn. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, send me an email. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Carol, as always. Bye-bye for now.